chip in my hand, and it opens stuff in our house. Someone asked why we bought this. We bought the furniture, yes, but my husband and I made this. Yes, we bought the cabinets.
But we took this apart and made this.
Hello, Hamora. I don't think I said that right. We bought this and then took it apart and added some techie stuff to it. We're trying to explain to you what this chip technology can do.
Thawda Yahweh, Thawda Yahushai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahushai, Ibawa, Nathaniel Allah, Wa Racha Kadash, Wa wisdom, Wa understanding, Wa knowledge, in order to understand the scriptures. Thawda Yahweh, that I'm able to do this video today as well. And Thawda for the Akim, who are listening to this video right now. Okay, so today's topic will be about the mark of the beast. Now let's begin with Revelation chapter 13, verse 11 to 18. Okay. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell there into worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from the heaven and the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in sight of this beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had the power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So essentially in Revelation chapter 13, verse 11 to 18, that's making a reference. Well, it's not really making a reference, but it's stating the mark of the beast that will come very soon. It's stating that in order to identify what the mark of the beast is, it mentions in verse 16 of chapter 13 of Revelation, of the book of Revelation. It says, he that causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. But it states here, it says he that causeth all, which means it's going to be, I'm getting a sense that it could be forced. It probably will be with some individuals, and we could also say that this is the thing of which we'll need to be kept from. How willing we're of that elect. The mark of the beast is not really something to play with, because if the devil's the one, he's gonna cause all, small, great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark on their right hand or forehead. The question is, how are you supposed to escape this without? You can't really, without Yahweh or Yahushai. You can't really escape this thing of which will be caused, like given an intention that it will be forced upon people, and people are gonna basically be in great fear in that day. Also, it says that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So here you guys will see a clip of basically a chip being inserted into an individual.
Okay, this seems like it's going to happen right now. Moment of silence, everyone, for Edgar. Okay, so can you see it? find that angle. So,
Yeah.
it's magnified, guys. It's not that big. Okay, so the syringe is about the size of 2 times the needle that they use to. Oh, it's happening. Okay.
Because normally, if the reason why the mark of the beast is the chip, and also the Neuralink chip, which will be the one in the forehead, that's also referenced in the whole head as well, is because of the fact that through these means you can have digital currency within them. You can pay through the chip, the microchip in the right hand, and also the Neuralink chip that's on the head as well.
Plans to replace its cash with an alternative, a digital version of its national currency. Think of it like cash, but only on your phone. A cryptocurrency that's issued by the People's Bank of China and backed by the renminbi. A new global currency. After Facebook announced the launch of its own cryptocurrency, the central bank accelerated its work. China is already well on its way to becoming a cashless society. Over 600 million Chinese, almost half the country, already use apps such as Alibaba's Alipay and Tencent's WeChat to pay for everything from groceries to bike rentals. Today, the two companies handle close to 90% of China's third-party mobile payments market. The central bank's currency will provide a new payment tool to substitute cash. Unlike Alipay or WeChat, users won't be limited to paying within one platform. China plans for its crypto to be accepted by any individual or institution, just like banknotes and coins. If Beijing's plans materialize, China could become the first major nation to go completely cash-free, and that could reverberate across the global financial system.
If it succeeds, I would expect that a large number of other countries will want to emulate their success.
There is still little known about how the system, known as Digital Currency Electronic Payments, or DCEP, will operate and what it will look like. So we examined official statements and documents to understand why China is pushing hard into this crypto future. This is Mu Chengchun. He oversees the central bank's digital currency efforts and is the country's most outspoken authority on the rollout. Since August, he has given a number of speeches on China's digital yuan, and even launched an online course about Facebook's Libra on a popular Chinese education app. Facebook's plans to provide its 2 billion users with a brand new digital currency spooked central banks around the world, including China's.
They see that Libra could be a way of extending American financial hegemony into the digital currency space as well, say helping to implement sanctions and export controls.
Beijing historically saw decentralized digital currencies, like Bitcoin, as a threat to a long-standing pillar of its monetary policy, capital control. But then, in October, Chinese President Xi Jinping spoke about the important role of blockchain, endorsing the government's embrace of the technology that powers cryptocurrencies.
They're looking at this and saying, is there some element of it that we like? And actually, what they found is that blockchain is an excellent technology for tracking.
That could give an unprecedented level of power for any central bank in the world over capital movements. Officials say the digital currency will not challenge Alipay and WeChat, but it would have some similarities. Like WeChat and Alipay, it will need a digital wallet, but unlike the paying platforms, it won't require a bank account. Instead, commercial banks will issue the digital wallets. A unique aspect of China's crypto will be that payments can be conducted offline. So in case of a natural disaster, when the network is down, or if you're on board a plane, you can still pay as long as your phone has power. And authorities promise a major difference will be greater anonymity, but it won't be absolute anonymity. This patent, filed by the central bank in 2017, shows that it's researched ways to track digital cash. Marketers won't know what people spend their money on, but that information will still be visible to the central bank to a certain extent.
One of the most interesting aspects of the system is how much data will the central bank have about where things go, because that's one of the largest, most important differences between digital currency and cash.
The central bank calls this controllable anonymity and says big data can help identify certain behavioral characteristics. Officials say tracking transactions will help battle money laundering, tax evasion, and terrorist financing, which is harder to do with cash transactions. And while the central bank says it won't spy on citizens' everyday transactions, experts are worried that China's cryptocurrency will allow greater state surveillance. China's central bank is not the only one pursuing a digital state-backed currency, but it is likely to be the first major one to launch it.
That's being developed by Elon Musk in his company called Neuralink. I'll just post a clip right now.
Is it? How do you do what happens if someone ultimately does get a Neuralink installed? What will take place?
Well, for version 1 of the device, it would be it basically implanted in your skull. So, but it would be flush with your skull. So you basically take out a chunk of skull, put the Neuralink device in there. You put the electrode. You'd insert the electrode threads very carefully into the brain, and then you stitch it up, and you wouldn't even know that somebody has it. And so then it can interface basically anywhere in your brain. So it could be something that helps cure, say, eyesight.
What is the future of this? What does it look like 5-10 years from now?
I think we're looking at a point where perhaps the 18th birthday present of 4 years from now is actually an implant. I think we're looking at the possibilities, and already actually Swedish Railway are issuing to businessmen implants. They have a choice to have that instead of their season cards. We're seeing implant parties happen across Europe. Young people are very interested in getting rid of all that stuff you have to carry around in your pockets, what you can lose. So your key fob, your credit card, your travel card, all this information that can be held within a chip.
Yes, as you can see from the clip, clearly that looks like the mark of the beast. And from the data, from what the individual said previously, I don't know if I inserted the clip, but there was a woman who talked about how you could save like car keys in the chip, probably pay through the chip as well, bank details, essentially giving that feeling as if life's going to be easy after the chip. But we know that those who take the chip will receive the swords that are mentioned within Revelation 16 verse 1-2, which I'll read right now. And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of Yahweh upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. So those who take the mark of the beast and worship the image of the beast as well, which is probably the system that the beast sets up, that the devil sets up as well, yeah, those people get grievous sores. It said noisome and grievous sores. I'm gonna search out what grievous means right now. I mean, not grievous, but you know what, noisome and grievous sores. I'm gonna search it up right now. So Salakiakiam. Yeah, so essentially they're gonna be sores. Sores. Painful ones as well. So definition of noise. Definition of noise. Yeah, so it said, and the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome. So if you search what the meaning of noisome, it says here, having an extremely offensive smell and very unpleasant, very disagreeable or unpleasant. So it means that those sores are gonna be like, they're gonna be painful essentially, and they will be irritating, especially to the sight of those who see them. So in that day, if you see the elect walking and they see those people with those sores, that's again another prophecy coming to pass from the mark of the beast. So that's why the mark of the beast is nothing to be played with as well. It's definitely nothing to be played with. And it's not just the swords as well, there'll be other plagues, because it said at the beginning of chapter 16, and I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of Yahweh upon the earth. So it's not just the swords that's given to the people of the mark of the beast. Those people who took the mark of the beast and also still exist on earth won't just get swords, they will also suffer from the plagues mentioned in Revelation chapter 16, which I'll read along right now. Before I read on, I'm just going to search for the definition of grievous, because it says and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image, which is in verse 2 of chapter 16 in the book of Revelation. So if you search for the definition of grievous, it says of something bad, very severe or serious. Yeah, so the main message here is that it's going to be painful, it's going to be very bad, very severe, very serious, of which you won't have any doctors healing anyone from these type of sores, because those are not just spiritual sores but also physical sores in the manifestation from Yahweh in these mortal bodies, especially not specifically to those who take the mark of the beast. And so I'll read along to the other vials that Yahweh told the 7 angels to pour. Okay, so verse 3 of Revelation chapter 16. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of waters, and they became blood. And I heard the angel of the waters say, Thou art righteous, O Lord, which art and wast and shalt be, because thou hast judged us thus. For they have shed the blood of the saints and the prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy.
There's going to be a point where this microchip is going to be presented to you one way or another, whether you work at a particular job, you receive benefits, eventually this thing is going to be a part of the whole system. And their plan is to chip everyone on the planet. Not everybody's going to take that chip. You're going to have the ones that know that the Most High put the Spirit on, the elect, they're not going to take that chip. But the mass majority of the people are going to take that chip. Now, whether they do it, you might be a police officer, and in order to use your gun or communicate with the headquarters, you need that chip. So if you don't know that this is in the scriptures, you're going to take it, or a lot of people know that it's in the scriptures, the mark of the beast, but they're going to take it anyway. So I'm going to read this right here, Revelation 3, verse 10. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience. The word of the Most High's patience is you came into these scriptures and you were taught by men. And that's the only way you guys that put up all these videos, got your YouTube pages dealing with Israel. A lot of you guys, if you're not from the original One West, or if you're not from a Great Millstone, or any group from the original One West, you watched either myself or either other camps out there, and you kind of do your own thing, and you act like the Spirit came to you. The Spirit didn't come to you. The Spirit came to us through teachers over us, and we in turn taught you. So now you got guys, self-proclaimed gurus, I would say, that they going all in the scriptures, and then they go into all the scriptures that we go into, and then they go ahead and say, well, wait a minute, they were going off on that. It really means this. Then when you check their track record, they might have started doing this thing back in 2010. What was you doing in 2009, 2008? What was you doing in 2006, 2005?
This is a microchipping party. Hannah's getting an electronic chip implanted into her hand. She believes one day we'll all be chipped like her.
So congratulations, Hannah. Thank you. You've been chipped? Yes.
So when it mentions in Revelation chapter 16 verse 6, it says, "For they have shed the blood of the saints and the prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy." Those prophets and saints are referred to in Revelation chapter 14, which are 144,000. And it says in Revelation chapter 14 verse 3, "And they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These are they," so this is verse 4 of Revelation chapter 14, "these are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto Yahweh and to the Lamb," which is Yahushua. So these were going back to, before going back, it says these were they that were not defiled with women. This woman, it's not really referring to real women. It doesn't mean that they're defiled by sex. I got this from one of the elders of Great Millstone. He's referring to all these philosophies of the world, all these religions of the world. That's what the woman is referring to. So it says, "For they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb, and whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto Yahweh and to the Lamb." So when it said these were redeemed from among men, so essentially right now these were, I want to say, let's say selected. They were selected among men, or Salakia Akim. I mean, all I know is that they were removed from all these philosophies like Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, all these different philosophies, and any other philosophies that will lead to confusion of this world, confusion from this earth. So it said they were redeemed from among men, and you know that in general, all men will have their own philosophies that they follow. Some thinking that their one's right, but there's only one that is right, which is to follow the Lamb and also Yahweh. Also it mentioning in verse 4 of Revelation chapter 14, it says, "Being the first fruits unto Yahweh and to the Lamb." So essentially these were chosen from the beginning of time, essentially from the beginning of when they existed. But anyways, going back to Revelation Revelation 16, I think. It's a lot. Yeah, going back to Revelation 16, in verse 6, it says, "For they have shed the blood of the saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy." So essentially this is the saints, as I referred to in Revelation chapter 14, are the 144,000 that are teaching on the streets right now, the elect, the hopeful elect, as we all call ourselves. Well, Yahweh willing, I'm of that elect. I don't know if I'm of that elect, so I'm just doing what I can. If it's Yahweh's will, then it's Yahweh's will. But for those who are street teaching out there, they are willing, they're of that elect. We believe that they are the elect. So when you go up to verse 7, it said, "And I heard another out of the altar say, Even so, Lord Yahweh Almighty, true and righteous are thy judgments. And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and the power was given unto him to scorch men with fire." So there's going to be a lot of heat in that day to come. Many things. People think that it's already hot now. When we hit 2021, if we hit 2021, there's going to be a lot of heat, a lot. And verse 9, And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of Yahweh, which hath power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory. So essentially, these are probably the same people as well who took the mark of the beast. They're the ones who are still going to blaspheme the name of Yahweh. Bahasham Yahushai. So Yahweh will still continue with the plagues. And verse 10. And the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness. And they gnawed their tongues for pain, and blasphemed Yahweh of heaven, because of their pains and their swords, and repented not of their deeds. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to battle of the great day of Yahweh Almighty. Allah Shadyah Yahweh, power Almighty Yahweh. And behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. And he gathered them together in the place called the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. And the seventh angel, this one's the final angel that Yahweh sent to unleash the vials. And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, It is done. And there were voices, thunders, and lightnings. There was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth. So mighty an earthquake, so great. Verse 19. And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of nations fell, and great Babylon came into remembrance before Yahweh, to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fell away, and the mountains were not found. Verse 21. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of talent. And men blasphemed Yahweh because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceeding great. So that hail, probably when hailstones hit, it could be thicker ones, way bigger ones, but we're going to see greater, more terrible stuff in these days. And when that time to come of Revelation 16 comes to pass, after the mark of the beast is made true as well. I mean, after the mark of the beast happens, essentially. So also, referring back to Revelation chapter 14 verse 4, where it says, these are they which were not defiled with women. And then I mentioned that this is referring to philosophies. Yeah, we see in Revelation 16, Salakia. Yeah, we see in Revelation 16 said, and the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon came in remembrance before Yahweh, to give unto her cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. So Babylon is referred to as a woman. Yeah, that's also a key sign, saying that also this is referring to the different philosophies that Babylon has put into fruition over the centuries as well. So those philosophies are the ones that have defiled men. I mean, most of the men here, but their first fruits are the ones that that were redeemed from among men, as Revelation chapter 14 verse 4 refers to. So that's the 144,000 that will have Yahweh's mercy, and also the ones on which some of them may die as well, as it mentions Revelation 16 verse 6. For they have shed the blood of the saints and the prophets, which are the 144,000. And thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. So that's the saints and the prophets. Essentially, the message is that the 144,000 are the saints and the prophets. But going back to the mark of the beast, let's see. So the mark of the beast being the chip, clearly it is the chip, because once all currencies are made digital, and once all currencies are made digital, this will be a problem because of the fact that every transaction can be traced. They say one cannot buy or sell without the mark of the beast, as as Revelation chapter 13 says, and he that causeth, no, Revelation chapter 13 verse 17 said, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So that's referring to the microchip, because once all the currencies are made digital, everything can be tracked and also controlled as well, because as you may see in a bank account, let's say you're checking your bank account online, they're just numbers on a screen. They can easily wipe it out if they wanted to. So easy restrictions can be imposed. Let's say if someone disobeyed the government or exposed some kind of truth that isn't supposed to come out from their evil deeds, then that person will have their bank account essentially wiped out, or something as harsh as that. And so that can stop someone from buying or selling, because if all means of trade or buying and selling goes away, such as cash, cards, phone payments, all of that, it's all just going to the microchip essentially. It's all just going to the microchip. That's why we see protests in London and America, and also other countries like Italy as well. So many protests on this, because on anti-lockdown, so it's all leading to the mark of the beast. That's the message. And it didn't just say right hand. There's also the forehead as well. So Neuralink. I'll play the clip right now.
Is it? How do you do what happens if someone ultimately does get a Neuralink installed? What will take place?
Well, for version 1 of the device, it would be basically implanted in your skull. So, but it would be flush with your skull. So you basically take out a chunk of skull, put the Neuralink device in there. You put the electrode, you'd insert the electrode threads very carefully into the brain, and then you stitch it up, and you wouldn't even know that somebody has it. So then it can interface basically anywhere in your brain. So it could be something that helps cure, say, eyesight. Like if you say 1-inch diameter piece of skull with this Neuralink device, and that has a battery and a Bluetooth and a inductive charger, and then you also got to insert the electrodes. So the electrodes are very carefully inserted with a robot that we developed that looks very carefully putting in the electrodes and avoiding any veins or arteries, so it's doesn't create trauma.
So through this 1-inch diameter device, electrodes be inserted, and they will find their way,
like tiny wires, basically.
Tiny wires,
and
they'll find their way to specific areas of the brain to stimulate.
No, you literally put them where they're supposed to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you said.
How long will these wires be?
I mean, they usually go in depending on where it is, 2 or 3 millimeters.
Yeah, so Revelation chapter 13 verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that clip that I just showed you guys is basically Elon Musk also mentioning the fact that he has a brain implant that he plans to give the disabled first of all. But obviously we know that could be the mark of the beast, so that could be contributing to the mark of the beast, because it said in their foreheads in Revelation chapter 13 verse 16. So therefore, we have to be careful with that one too. But that is basically the mark of the beast, because it says in their foreheads, and in their foreheads. That's also referring to the whole head as well, because he did say that there are electrodes that could be drilled into someone's head, different parts of someone's brain, essentially. And we know that in the forehead there's a part of the brain that basically controls everything else. I can't really remember the name. Okay, it's like the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of the brain that's essential. I forgot what it controls, but essentially that part of the brain, if it's taken over, it's not really much you can do. But then again, the Neuralink chip and the microchip as well, those are the mark of the beast. That's essentially the message I get. So lucky if I didn't put this video well, but yes, so lucky. Okay, I'd like to close it by saying Tawda Yahweh, Tawda Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh. Tawda Akim wa Afwath for listening to the video. God.
And every mountain and island were moved out of their places. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 18. And if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? Jude verse 24. Now unto him that is able to keep you from falling, and to present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy. To the only wise power, our Savior, be glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and ever. Amen. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5, verse 15. But the righteous live forevermore. Immortality. Their reward also is with the Lord, and the care of them is with the Most High. Therefore shall they receive a glorious kingdom and a beautiful crown from the Lord's hand. For with his right hand shall he cover them, and with his arm shall he protect them. So you're going to be crowned by the Lord himself, Yahweh Shai. Okay? Yahweh Shai himself, he's going to crown you. And he's the right hand of the Father. He's the Father's right hand man. He's covering us. He's protecting us right now. And ultimately, him protecting you is him delivering you from that nuclear destruction. So you don't have to taste of that second death.